warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah wa la haula wa la quwata illa billah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa taala who has given us mercy and blessing today so that we are in the best of health and iman. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to all of you, my student of IPF batch 2019, who have been attending this 14 weeks discussions under banking financial management. And today, as I mentioned before, that we'll discuss the issue on Sharia governance. Yeah, so this Sharia governance basically tries to discuss about how well a particular institutions governing their institutions so that the goals of the institution can be achieved. On this context, we try to put into Islamic banking and finance. Yeah, and here I borrow the slide given by our previous speakers at summer school programs about Sharia and corporate governance practices for Islamic banking and financial institutions. So hopefully it will bring up your views and insights so you can just, in the end, you can practice this kind of Sharia governance into your own institution later on, or if you are working at practitioners, yeah, at Islamic banking or in other financial institutions. So first of all, what is the corporate governance? Yeah. So this is applicable not only just for banking and finance, yeah, but also for any organizations that you are under your capacity right now, whereby the corporate governance here tries to covers the unethical behavior in corporation and poor corporate governance, including corruption, financial statement fraud, yeah, manipulation, bankruptcy, yeah, and other challenges. They are part and parcel that will be discussed under corporate governance. And particular governance, if they are failure to implement this proper corporate governance practices, it can cause any financial loss. So it will happen also in the context of a country and also in the context of your own personality, sisters and brothers. So if you fail to implement proper individual governance practices, perhaps, yeah. So it can cause depositors to withdraw the deposits, or anybody will avoid you in the context of personal life, and investors may cancel their investment agreements, yeah, and therefore would increase the bank profits and increase their risk exposure. So in the end of the day, you will face that your institution are not well managed, low profit, and lack credibility, and then the risk exposure will be increasing. So Islamic banks are also exposed to losses, not only just conventional, but Islamic bank also will face these particular losses or even failures due to the poor governance, corporate governance practices. So to name few, there are some bankruptcy in the context of Finance House of Turkey, yeah, for example, and others. So in other words, if you fail to measure, to manage your corporate, yeah, into a very good governance, so it will be creating a serious problems. So in your personality as well, if you fail to manage your own personality, yeah, if you fail to manage your activities since the beginning, it will be creating another problem in your future day, yeah. So it will be contextualized to your personality actually. And so what is the corporate governance here? Yeah, what is the purpose of the corporate governance? So corporate governance here exists, yeah, take place in order to translate the wishes. Yeah, the wishes means the hope, yeah, of an organizational owners into organizational performance. So, for example, Adinda, you had a banks, yeah, and you delegate the management of the bank into some other people's, yeah, or your colleagues. So your colleagues as the delegations of you, they must be able to transform and translate what the thinking of you into best performance. In other words, the management must be able to giving the best performance, yeah, or best credibility to organizations that the owner has. Yeah, in this context, the corporate governance will be involving some it will impact to the desired results. Yeah, so these are the component of the corporate governance, yeah, in the context of corporation or in context of banking sectors. Yeah, in the context of your personality, yeah, the governance include you, your parents, your friends, yeah, and others. Yeah, so they are part and parcel that will direct your desired results. Yeah. And the next one is, if we talk about corporate governance in Islamic financial institutions, including Islamic banks, there will be two kinds of Islamic corporate governance. The first is traditional corporate standards, traditional, yeah. So act and conduct of management are aligned with the stakeholders' interest. So you are following the stakeholders. Stakeholders means the one that own the shares of your companies. Yeah. And the second one is Islamic principles and Sharia requirements. Yeah. So adherence to the Sharia rules and regulation followed by the Quran and Sunnah. It means that the corporate governance here must fulfill two conditions. The first is the compliance of the interests of the stakeholders, and the second one is requirements to fulfill the requirement that has been released by the primary and secondary resources of Islam. So this is the part and parcel and the standard of conducts, yeah, of the corporate Islamic corporate governance. But in the conventional standard corporate governance, we do not, or we just neglect this one. We only refer to the stakeholders' interests. But for Islamic corporate governance, you have to combine both, not only just stakeholders, but the stakeholders' interests must be complied with the Quran and Sunnah. Yeah. And the next one is, here is the corporate governance in Islamic financial institution, the guidelines, code of conduct, infrastructures, due diligence, yeah, communication, internal control, and monitoring and enforcement. So these items, yeah, they are combined into regulations. Yeah, you have regulation. In this regard, we have regulators. In this context, we have central banks, for example, and we have investors protections. Yeah, will be governed by board of director and board of oversight. Yeah, so it will be under risk committee, audit committee, governing committee, and management oversight, risk management, and blah blah blah. And all of this, yeah, must be also combined with the Sharia supervisory boards. So in order to ensure that all of these operational practices of Islamic Bank is in line with the Sharia principles and internal Sharia units. So it is regarding with the financial records, yeah, financial record and financial transaction, and this one dealing with the activities, overall activities in the banking sector, yeah. And the next one, what is then Sharia governance? Yeah, so if you read from this slide, you will see that in Islamic financial literatures, Sharia governance is relatively new discourse. But it is crucial to lead the market trust on the credibility of Islamic banking and finance industry. So the Sharia governance here basically is the management of the particular Islamic financial institutions in order to maintain the credibility. Yeah, credibility means the trust, yeah, of the stakeholders towards Islamic banking and finance industry. On that regard, we have a donation of Hisbah. Hisbah means Can you hear my voice? Yeah. Can you hear my voice there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. Because suddenly the slide here. Okay, I continue again. Sorry. So the first is notion of hisbah. Yeah, the hisbah here tries to supervise the compliance of the financial institutions, and you have also the Sharia committee. Yeah, Sharia committee here. To create Sharia committee followed by others, yeah, and you have IOV standard. IOV means auditing accountancy of Islamic financial institution standard, so such as a regulatory standard that released by supervisory body, yeah, and we have FSSB and central banks. Yeah. So all of this one are the pillars how to ensure that the Sharia governance take place. And the next one is here some principle, for example, that related with the Sharia governance, yeah, for institutions offering Islamic financial institutions, and it has three important elements. Yeah, the first is a set of institutional and organizational arrangements. Yeah, so you see that in Islamic Sharia governance, yeah, so you have to ensure that BOD, Board of Director, Sharia Committee, Sharia Division, internal audit function are take place. Yeah, and the second one is effective independent oversight of Sharia compliance. So the Sharia supervisory committee must be independent. There is no any interest, yeah, of these institutions in looking at particular issue that connected with Islamic banking operations. And the third one is Sharia pronouncement, yeah, dissemination of information, internal Sharia compliance reviews, yeah. So all of this are part and parcel on how to support the Sharia governance principles in Islamic banking and finance. And here, just a few sisters and brothers about the Sharia governance function. Yeah, so you have to identify, measure, monitor, report, control Sharia non-compliant risk. Yeah, it's the first. And second one, review business operation on regular basis to ensure Sharia compliance. So this one regarding with the risk, this one regarding with the operations, yeah. And the third one is conduct adapt Sharia research prior to submission to the Sharia committee. So regarding with the Sharia research, yeah. And last one is Sharia audit, yeah. So those are, yeah, the element of the Sharia governance function, yeah, Sharia governance function that will include Sharia risk management, review function, Sharia audit, and Sharia research. Yeah. And the next one is here, what is the objective and scope? Yeah. So I think it is very important, sisters and brothers, in case that someday you are working in the Islamic banks, yeah, so that you can just follow, yeah, what the bank here, yeah, usually do. Okay, the first one is about the Sharia review here. Yeah. Could you please help me, Rifki, to read the first one about the Sharia review, objective and scope, Rifki?
Yes, sir. Sharia review. The objectives is to ensure that activities and operations carried out by the IFI do not contravene with Sharia. In the scope, overall business operations, including end-to-end product development process, or from product structuring to product off.
Okay. Second one, Rifki, please.
Okay, the second one, Sharia audit in objectives. Firstly, is to provide an independent assessment and objective assurance. Secondly, to ensure a sound and effective internal control system for Sharia compliance. In the scope, first, all aspects of the IFS, business operation and activities, including first, compliance audit on organizational structure, people and information technology application system, and second, review of adequacy of Sharia governance process. Thirdly,
Yeah.
Sharia.
So, okay, enough. So from the first and second part, yeah, Sharia review and Sharia audit, we can summarize that the objective that the Sharia compliance is taken care of, yeah, during the operational business of banking, and same time Islamic institution is able to be audited, yeah, independently, yeah, by the auditors, yeah, so that from these two items we do wish that the credibility of the Sharia governance is the Islamic financial institution. Okay, there's the third one. Could you please read Demas? Demas,
Yes,
are you
sir.
still there? Yes, please.
Yes.
The third one, Demas.
Sharia risk management. Objective identification
Yes.
and assessment of Sharia risk will be systematically controlled and monitored. The scope is a form of EFIS integrated risk management control functions. The next is Sharia research. The objective is to ensure proper deliberation of Sharia related matters, and the scope is perform in-depth research on Sharia, including providing day-to-day Sharia advice and consultancy.
Yes, thank you, Dimas. So from this one, from the third and fourth one, actually it is related with the how the operational background of Islamic here is under control, yeah, in terms of the financial risk. And the second one, the fourth one is dealing with to what extent the deliberation of the Sharia issue here is indeed discussed from the Sharia review until the Sharia research. Actually, the main objective is how to ensure that the Sharia compliance, Sharia governance, yeah, in Islamic financial institutions are well controlled, well monitored, and in the end, it will create any again consistency in terms of the Sharia settlement issues. Yeah, and then in the end, the Islamic institution is being able to maintain the credibility. It means the in terms of the Sharia yeah. The next, why there is a need for governance frameworks. Yeah, why there is a need for the Sharia governance frameworks? Could you please read the first, brother Burhan?
Yes, sir.
Brother Burhan, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Could you please read the first part about the Sharia compliance as the main objective of the IFI?
Okay. Sharia compliance as the main objective of an IFI. Business objective
Yes.
of IFI to conduct financial business in accordance with principle of Sharia. Responsibility of Sharia compliance not confined to SG but also board, management and staff. Even more critical to IES that levered on resource sharing or outsourcing with conventional infrastructure.
Okay, so the main objective is the Sharia compliance is the main objective that I said before. Yeah. So why we need a Sharia governance frameworks? Because we want to ensure the Sharia compliance. Okay, Burhan. Second one, Brother Aldin, please. The second part, Brother Aldin, could you please read?
Okay, some observation on FAI Sharia governments. FAI that process strong corporate government structure, but weak is Sharia government. Lack of independence, strong influence by management on SG. SG is limited role as advisor, certifying the product approval and validation documentation. The lack of communication between SG and board. Next, lack of resource to ensure Sharia compliance. The last, lack of robust Sharia government infrastructure, lack of Sharia complement function, including depth of Sharia research capabilities.
Okay, so the second part here, basically what Brother Aldin read just now is how to settle some issues related with the organizational problems. Yeah, SC means Sharia committee. Yeah, you see that in the banking, in the Islamic banking, there are some boards, yeah, that governing, yeah, Syariah governor, yeah, Syariah committee, yeah, CEO, yeah, and others. So the issue is how to harmonize this all part, yeah, into single objective. Yeah, so therefore we need a framework. So this framework will help this all parties to be or harmonious, yeah, in conducting the Syariah governance. Here, another graphs, yeah, or figures, yeah, that ensure the compliance with Sharia rules and principles. So we are expecting the blessing of Allah, yeah, and we have Sharia governance here. Fiduciary, that is in Islamic banking transaction. Fiduciary means the trust, yeah, and normal corporate governance. So here the normal, yeah, and here the biggest scope, and here the biggest approach, and all in all, yeah, is we are expecting the blessing, yeah. So this blessing ensure must be can be attained through the compliance with the Sharia rules and principles. And if you read here, the crucial of Sharia governance is the blessing of Allah. So we are hoping and attaining this objective. Yeah, not only just profit per se. Yeah, but also is the blessing. Ensure full Sharia compliance. Compliance means the ability of the transaction in line with the guidance under the Sharia principles, and instill public confidence and trust. That I mentioned before, that we have to maintain and promote the public confidence and trust, yeah, and promote financial stability. Yeah, of course, we want to make the Islamic bank stable and health or sound. And the last one, environmental and societal performance. So we wanted that Islamic banking and finance can give the great impact, not only just giving the normal facilities, yeah, to the public, but also giving more. So beyond banking, yeah, beyond banking activities, beyond normal banking activities. And this principle of Islamic finance places great emphasis on strong corporate governance, values, and structure, transparency, disclosures of information, and strict, yeah, adherence to the Sharia principle. So the keywords here is the Islamic governance here must put the the Sharia principles as the backgrounds. Yeah. So based on this background, the Islamic banking wanted to be more transparent, more followable, yeah, and more transparent, disclosed, yeah, and also credible, yeah, for the public interest. And this one is another structure, sisters and brothers. So if you see the Sharia governance framework here, we have management, shareholders. Shareholders here is the part of the company. Yeah, we have community here, public. We have environments. So all of these four, yeah, must be integrated into Islamic corporate governance. So Islamic corporate governance covers management, shareholders, community, and environments. And this Islamic corporate governance are governed by Board of Directors (BOD) and Sharia Supervisory Board. So the BOD here will be focused on the operational regular activities of the banking sector. Yeah, operational regular operations. And the Sharia Supervisory Board here will focus on the Sharia compliance issue. So between these two items, Board of Director and Sharia governance is integrated under the blessing of Allah, under the God principles, yeah, the Sharia principles. So in the end of the day, the Islamic governance framework tries to ask the blessing of Allah. Yeah, so this one. And the next one here is another dimensions. Yeah. So if you talk about Islamic corporate governance, yeah, you talk about people. Yeah. Okay. Could you please help me to read Adinda from people, the purpose, practices, and principles. Adinda, please.
Sure, sir. Which part the practices? Oh, principle, practices, and the purpose, yes, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, so the principles. ICG involves a code of conduct that regulates and organizes mankind in both materials and spiritual life, like responsibility, transparency, accountability, and Sharia compliance. And the practices part, the implementations of Sharia law and believing in the ones of God of Tawhid. And the last is the purposes, not only protecting stakeholders' right, but also promoting social well-being in achieving Maqasid Sharia, environmental performance, social performance, and rely Sharia compliance conducts. And for the people, ICG covers all stakeholders as a beneficiary, like stakeholders, BOD, SSB, MGT, and environment.
The dimension, Adinda, please.
The dimensions. First is oneness of God or Tawhid. Second is Islamic law and social justice. Third is transparency in business operations. Four is socio-economic objectives. Fifth is adequate level of compliance to Sharia rules. Sixth is accountable. Seventh is independent of SSB. And the last is participations of all stakeholders.
Okay, thank you, Dinda. You have very rightly read all these items. So, all in all, the ICG, Islamic Corporate Governance, try to cover not only just the people, yeah, but also it tries to look at many dimensions, yeah. So you can see the dimension here is not only just for the sake of this business, yeah, but also how the connection between the business to the spirituality, for example, yeah, and to what extent the ICG here connected with the transparency, the values, yeah, so this very complicated issue actually, but you will see that the practice of Islamic is is um, is indeed different with the convention. Yeah, even though you see that in terms of the maybe output, yeah, indeed difference. Yeah. Okay. The next one. The next one is about Sharia governance models. Yeah. Could you please help me to read, Sister Fira? Hello, Sister Fira.
Ya, Pak.
Yes, could you please help me to read the next slide, Sharia governance models.
Okay. Sharia governance models. In Centrable Model 1, centralized Sharia advisory body. Model 2, non. Model 3, non. And then National Fatwa Council. Model 1, non. Model 2, non. And Model 3, Sharia Supervisory Board or DSN. And then IVIs. Model 1, Sharia Committee at IVIs. And then Model 2, Sharia Committee at IVIs. And then Model 3, Sharia Committee at IVIs. And then the countries. In Model 1, Malaysia, Pakistan, Sudan. In Model 2, Bangladesh, Kuwait, UAE. And then Model 3, Indonesia.
Okay, so from this one, you can compare and contrast right now. By the way, that there are so many models related with the Sharia governance, yeah, that has been implemented by some countries, yeah, whereby in Indonesia we have the central bank here doesn't have rules, yeah, in terms of the SSG, yeah, in terms of the ICG, but the rule of Sharia governance models in the Islamic financial institutions, yeah, not in the central banks. But in Kuwait, the ICG, Islamic Corporate Governance, under the National Fatwa Councils. Yeah. So this is just the models how the rule of the Sharia governance here being put in some institutions, yeah, related with the Islamic financial institutions. So there's some pros and cons, but overall they are running right now in these countries. And here are also the Sharia governance frameworks. Yeah. Okay, could you please help me to read? I want to call you upon Sister Nana, please, Sister Nana.
Framing the Sharia governance framework. In the first is about guiding principle. First is oversight, accountability, and responsibility. Include is clear demarcation on accountability and responsibility. And second is outline level of accountability and responsibility of board of directors, Sharia committee, and management of IVS. And
Yes,
the second
next.
is independence, aims at safeguarding independence of Sharia committee in ensuring sound Sharia decision making, and emphasis on role of board of director in recognizing independence of Sharia committee. And then the third is competency, highlight requirements and expect competencies to ensure key functions are capable of implementing Sharia governance. And then the last is confidentiality and consistency. Minimum set of rules that emphasize the importance of observing and preserving confidentiality and improving level of consistency in decision making by Sharia committee.
Okay, thank you, Sister Nana. So here the framing means what the basic principles, yeah, in order to governing the Sharia governance frameworks, yeah. So what is the minimum competency, yeah, competency that the Sharia actors must have, yeah, so that this Islamic corporate governance will be smoothly done. Yeah, oversight, accountability, responsibility, independent, confidentiality, consistency, competency. So all of these one are the guiding principles. So hopefully by following these guiding principles, the pillars on how the Sharia governance framework is built will be stronger, yeah, and be more credible, yeah. And the next one, and here is the thing to ponder: Sharia scholars sitting on the multiple boards, yeah. There are some top 10 yeah, Sharia scholars based on the numbers of boards. Yeah. So here we see so many names. Yeah. So these names are very familiar in the Islamic finance. Yeah. And then they are sitting in so many Islamic finance institutions around the world. Yeah. One person, for example, here, Sheikh Abdul Sattar Abdul Karim Muhammad. Yeah. So he is now acting as the Sharia scholars at 66 institutions, yeah, around the globe. So very crowded, yeah? Very crowded responsibility. And the last one is about issues and Sharia governance models. Yeah. Okay. Could you please read? I want to ask the last one, Sister Fatwa. Fatwa, are you with us?
Sir.
Could you please help me
Yes,
to
I'm
read?
here.
Yes.
Okay. Issue and Sharia governance models. First is centralized Sharia body or decentralized IPS. Second, competency of Sharia scholars to understand the complexity of Islamic financial instruments and their professionalism. Third is availability of a pool of Sharia scholars in the required Islamic finance knowledge. Fourth is regulatory policy that can accommodate all types of entity. Fifth is capability to establish Sharia compliance function or Sharia review, audit, risk management, and research. And the last is can non-Muslim be Sharia scholars?
Okay. So these are the issue of the Sharia governance models. Yeah. Because if you talk about Sharia governance, you are talking about the actor, yeah, the personality that's sitting under this Sharia governance models. And the peculiar issue that you can see that centralized Sharia body or decentralized, it means that only one body that governs all, or it should be decentralized into several subsectors. Yeah. So it means that every single unit, they have their own Sharia body, for example. And the competency, yeah, because the competency here refers to the ability of the people to integrate, not only just master in terms of the Sharia knowledge, but also should be master in the economics, yeah, or finance issues. So somehow we are very difficult to find out the persons that have these two knowledge body in one single mind. Yeah. For example, myself, perhaps I'm good in economics, but lacking in Sharia. There is also somebody else that have ability in Sharia, but they are lacking in finance or economics. So we seems to be lacking behind one side, yeah, to another. So looking for the two knowledge mastery in one single items or single body is quite difficult. And the third one, availability of pool Sharia scholars in the required Islamic finance knowledge. Yeah. Again, it's related to the second one. Yeah. And the fourth one, regulatory policy that accommodate all the type of entity. Yeah. So it means that to what extent the regulatory here can accommodate and also promote the existing progress or development of Islamic banking and finance. And the fifth, capability to establish Sharia compliance functions. Yeah. So how to ensure that the Sharia review, audit, and all in all here running well. So in other words, we are talking about the Sharia control. Who can control these all items run well? And the last one, can non-Muslim be Sharia scholars? Is also another issue. Even though there are some non-Muslim, but they are quite experienced, yeah. But again, the Sharia here not only just knowledge, but also the understanding, yeah, the attitude, yeah, the mindset, yeah, and also the ability to integrate between the spirituality and the financial activity. Yeah. If he or she not Muslim, so how can he or she can integrate this item into real spirituality that connected with the primary and secondary sources. Yeah, so another issues. So I come up with the last one, concluding remarks. Yeah, that corporate governance is essential to translate the wishes of an organizational owner into organizational performance. Yeah, so this is the way. Yeah, the way how. And the next one, Islamic corporate governance, ICG, is equitable treatment welfare to all stakeholders and society, whereby it must be under believing in one God, yeah, and being accountable for every act keeps managers, employers, business abstain for unlawful activities. And difference in Sharia governance model lead to different result and implications. So we have different kind of models. And Sharia governance is crucial to lead the market trust on the credibility of Islamic banking and finance industry. Again, I put some underline on trust and credibility. Trust is the result of the credibility. Yeah, if you don't credible, the people will not trust you. Yeah, so the credibility here is the keywords in order to maintain the trust. Okay, that's all. My dear sisters and brothers, related with this Sharia Islamic compliance, Sharia governance. Do you have any questions or feedbacks? You want to share something else? Most welcome. Nana, Rifki, Fira, Burhan, Demas, Arik, Fatwa, Elvin, Adinda. Most welcome if you have any other comment, feedbacks, questions, and others. No questions? Okay. If there's no questions, I just want to recall you that you are given a paper presentation or paper assignments. Yeah. So if you open my class, let me open my class here. Just to recall you. Okay, so next week we will have the last presentation about, the last topics about regulatory frameworks. Yeah, and then after that you will have the test competency, and then please don't forget about the presentation here, presentation assignments. The detail has been sent to my class, so please do collect this one by no later than December 31st, yeah, through my class, and by creating video, yeah, maximum 20 minutes, and after that we will have discussion on that. Okay, so with that, I guess for this, any questions, response?
No questions, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's no questions, yes, Fatwa, you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much for your very kind attentions, all of you, and please keep your health. Yes, stay safe and health, and please do prepare all the things related with the assignments and presentations and others, and please do prepare yourself because you have been in the fifth semester. So by next semester will be your last semester for theoretical or teaching, for the class teaching program. So hopefully all of you can complete and finish the study at IBF on time, and please prepare all the things since now. With that, I close by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much again. See you next week. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Sir.